Hello, everyone. I'm Christopher. Welcome back. This is Lazy Masquerade Unsolved Mysteries with Chilling Evidence. If you've missed the other story, that one was sad. I was looking up the movie they were talking about at the end of it. So, Marilyn Bergeron. I don't know who this is. I don't know who she is. Or him. So let's find out. What is it with these goddamn ads popping up all over the place?
Have you considered going solar in...
I have. I'm waiting to get put on the schedule for them to come and install my solar panels. Woohoo! A lot of paperwork, a lot of things you got to sign.
Marilyn Bergeron was born in the French-Canadian city of Saguenay. A bright girl, she showed signs of musical talent from a very early age, was fluent in both French and English, and dabbled in Spanish, Russian, and a host of other foreign languages. After graduating from technical college with a media degree, Marilyn moved to Montreal by herself in 2005, leaving her parents back in Quebec City. She worked a variety of jobs, from sales assistant to freelance sound editor, but was ultimately focusing on a job in the finance industry. However, after just a few months of vocational training, Marilyn dropped out of her program to pursue a career as a flight attendant. She told her parents that the job was an opportunity to travel at a heavy discount. She could chase a solid career any time, but she wanted to explore the world while she was still young. Marilyn's parents later said that such a decision was typical of their daughter, who was often indecisive and reckless. But if she believed that the job would make her happy, her parents supported her decision. In early 2008, however, Marilyn telephoned her mother to explain that she no longer felt safe in Montreal. Her mother asked her why, but Marilyn seemed unwilling or unable to explain. She invited Marilyn to stay with her back in Quebec for a couple of days, but as the weeks went on, Marilyn's short stay at her parents' house turned into a permanent residency. After a few weeks of living with them, Marilyn's parents asked her if she was ready to move back to Montreal. She replied by saying that she never wanted to return to that city as long as she lived. When pressed on why exactly, Marilyn simply burst into tears. Unable to continue living in ignorance, Marilyn's father demanded to know why she was acting so strangely, but she simply refused to give a straight answer. She only assured her increasingly anxious parents that it wasn't to do with drugs, debt, or a toxic relationship. When Marilyn's father asked if anyone had hurt her or attacked her, she suddenly went quiet. Realizing that he was on the right track, he asked if she had been raped. At that point, Marilyn erupted into tears before fleeing to her bedroom.
He asked her if she had been raped. Since he can't say it because of demonetization, I can.
Convinced that this was the reason for her behavior, Marilyn's parents offered to help her file a police report and asked if she knew the man who had attacked her. Yet, to their surprise, Marilyn denied having been attacked at all, and instead told her parents that what she was dealing with was, quote, much, much worse than that. Over time, Marilyn became increasingly withdrawn, and soon stopped communicating with her parents entirely. In turn, her father began researching therapists who may be able to help her, but his efforts would be in vain. Whatever Marilyn was going through, she had reached her breaking point. On the morning of February 17th, 2008, Marilyn told her parents that she was going for a walk. She was wearing suede boots and a long black overcoat with a grey fake fur trim. The only thing that she took with her was her credit card. She left all other identification at home. Just after 11 a.m., Marilyn was caught on CCTV attempting to withdraw $60 from an ATM on the Boulevard de Lumière, but her bank denied the request. That same security footage shows Marilyn looking over her shoulder several times, as if she was concerned that someone was following her or watching her off camera. Where Marilyn went during the next 5 hours remains a mystery. She was next spotted at exactly 4:03 p.m, buying a cup of coffee in Saint-Romuald, a small town just south of Quebec City. The barista at Café Depot who served her later said that she had an air of sadness about her, but seemed incredibly anxious at the same time. The exchange marked the last time that anyone would see or talk to Marilyn. After that, she dropped off the face of the earth entirely. When Marilyn failed to return home that evening, her parents filed a missing persons report and plastered missing posters all over Quebec City, each promising a handsome reward for any information leading to their daughter's safe return. Hope burned brighter when renowned French-Canadian journalist Claude Poirier got involved. He personally went to the same ATM as Marilyn before she disappeared, and, based on the angle she was looking over her shoulder, he deduced that she must have been looking at a car parked on the street outside. While it was possible that Marilyn used public transport to travel to Café Depot, she wasn't caught on any other CCTV cameras. Her sudden appearance at the cafe suggested that someone had given her a ride. Police theorized that this person could be the key to uncovering Marilyn's whereabouts. Question is, who were they? In the year following Marilyn's disappearance, the authorities begged witnesses to come forward, and went so far as to release the ATM surveillance footage. Sadly, this resulted in no new leads. Local law enforcement found this baffling, since Marilyn had last been seen in well-lit, busy public places. Dozens of people had witnessed her final moments. The CCTV footage was testament to that, but bizarrely, not a single person approached the police with any information whatsoever. At least until early 2010, when Claude Poirier uncovered a promising lead. In January of that year, Monsieur Poirier was contacted by a man who claimed to have seen Marilyn in a place called Hawkesbury, just south of the Ottawa River. He recognized her from the ATM footage, but claimed that she had been living peacefully in Hawkesbury for almost a year. As far as he knew, she was happily in a relationship, and appeared to have no idea she was missing, or that anyone was looking for her.
What?
When officers travelled to Hawkesbury to corroborate the man's story, they showed a photograph of Marilyn to some locals at a diner. Many of them claimed to recognize her, with one of them even claiming that she had eaten there on more than one occasion.
Why would you, if you're her, why would you abruptly leave, only take a credit card with you, not reach back out in touch with your family, and not expect that they would worry? Doesn't make any sense. I don't believe that that was her. It could have been her that showed up there, but
Believing they were hot on Marilyn's trail, detectives combed Hawkesbury for any sign of her. After just over a week of searching, with no sign of the young woman, they concluded that she must have moved on. Between the years of 2010 and 2017, the investigation into Marilyn's disappearance stagnated, and the case eventually went cold. Marilyn's parents were quick to voice their discontent with the efforts of the local police, and rebuked one detective's claims that they had done their best. In their words, the authorities were refusing to treat Marilyn's disappearance as a criminal case, and instead of murder or trafficking, favoured an explanation of voluntary disappearance or suicide.
Suicide was what he just said. I would say this. It's easy to blame the police officers doing the investigation, but they can't instantly take what you say, it's sex trafficking or blah, blah, blah. They can't instantly jump to that conclusion. They have to weed out a lot of other stuff before they can, they have to investigate every single thing. They can't just, you can't just tell them it's this, and they go, got it. Because they don't know. They have to investigate everything. And yes, leads pop up and they go away. It's so you can't just verbally assault them, as much as I think if I was in that situation, I'd probably be doing the same thing. But yeah, they have a lot on their plate in terms of what they're trying to do, and they have to look at everything. So, just let's pump the brakes on it, even though I'd probably be guilty of it.
In her parents' opinion, Marilyn must have witnessed some kind of violent or disturbing crime whilst in Montreal. Witnessing it had made her the target of some very powerful, very frightening individuals, meaning she was forced to flee the city. But then, somehow, those same individuals tracked Marilyn down to her parents' house in Quebec, and after following her all the way to a small, suburban town, they silenced her forever. A police spokesperson.
Did you know that there's a simple combination of natural ingredients that will help you?
A police spokesperson dismissed the Bergeron family's claims as pure fantasy, and while he empathized with their grief, he said there was likely a much more simple explanation for what happened to their daughter.
Maybe not.
However, in late 2017, an old college friend of Marilyn's was approached by a journalist. This friend, Jonathan Gauthier, claimed to have discussed Marilyn's problems with her in the days prior to her disappearance. Jonathan said that he and Marilyn had planned to attend a party together one evening, when he noticed that same sudden shift in her behaviour. After arriving at her apartment to pick her up, Jonathan found Marilyn lying in the dark. When he asked what she was doing, she simply replied, "Thinking." Jonathan said that her mood was briefly lifted by the party's celebratory atmosphere, but at some point during the evening, Marilyn became intensely anxious. She begged him to drive her back to her apartment, and wept all the way home. Much like her parents, Jonathan assumed that Marilyn had either witnessed a crime or had been attacked, but again, she denied both possibilities. When pressed for details, Marilyn remained tight-lipped, stating only what she would later repeat to her parents, that the truth was much, much worse than anything Jonathan suggested. "You can't even imagine what I've been through," she said. It felt to Jonathan that if Marilyn were to tell him exactly what had happened, his life would somehow be at risk too. Jonathan's account reignited media interest in Marilyn's case, and as news of her disappearance reached the wider Western world, the investigation began to pick up steam once again. In October of 2022, Canadian investigators announced another possible sighting of Marilyn in Hawkesbury. One of the townsfolk had informed them that back in 2009, in the early hours of a cold December morning, he and his wife had been awoken by an unexpected caller. When they opened their front door, they found a visibly upset young woman standing on their porch, wearing only a light jacket, white t-shirt, jeans, and high heels. This struck the couple as odd. The woman's attire was nowhere near warm enough for the frigid Canadian winter, and yet she didn't seem to feel the cold. They asked how they could help her, and the woman asked to use their phone. The couple invited her in, offering her a towel and a hot drink while she made her call. After failing to get a connection, the woman apologized for the disturbance, then asked for directions to a nearby landmark. She declined the man's offer of a ride, claiming it was close enough to walk, and that she wouldn't be out in the cold for long. Then, as quickly as she had arrived, the young woman departed. 3 months later, the couple came across a newspaper article about Marilyn's disappearance, and instantly recognized her as the woman who had come to their house that night. Only, there was one difference. Marilyn had been a blonde on the night that she had called at their home. Her family have since stated that it wasn't uncommon for Marilyn to change her hair color. But the timing of this final dyeing could hold a deeper significance. If Marilyn feared that she was being followed by someone, she may have changed her hair color to help disguise herself. While Marilyn's family remain convinced that their daughter fell victim to foul play, Canadian detectives are much more open to a theory of voluntary disappearance. Every single day, a surprising amount of people all over the world simply walk away from their lives. It could be due to financial problems, personal conflicts, or just a general dissatisfaction. But not everyone who goes missing wants to be found. Marilyn's family are also open to the possibility that she is one of those people, having stated, quote, "If she has a new life and wants to be left alone, we will respect that." But the more you read into this case, the more it becomes clear that something deeper and darker is going on here, and that Marilyn's disappearance may well have a much more sinister explanation. Let me know your thoughts down below.
Yeah, I'm kind of stuck. She very well could have up and disappeared, started a new life, but I don't know how you're going to start a new life with $60 cash. I also some people will say, you could say, "Are you okay? Is everything going okay?" Blah blah blah, and they're like, "You have no idea what's going on in my life. It is the worst." And so you instantly think, "Oh shit, you got murder in your family? Like, what's happening?" And they're like, "Oh my gosh, I was stuck in traffic today," and you're just like, "Oh, okay, you're one of those." So she just could be one of those people that's just over exaggerating it. At the same time, she could be under exaggerating it, and it could be she almost got taken into a sex trafficking ring or something. You'd have no idea. I tend to think that some people, most people, will over exaggerate things. That's just based off of what I've seen in my life. A lot of over exaggerating. I almost died today. What happened? Oh, Dunkin' Donuts didn't have what I needed, and the coffee was cold. Yeah, that clearly you were on the edge. So, but $60 cash, I don't know. I don't know enough about her as an individual to really say which one. But I can tell you that I'm going to end the video here, and you need to like and subscribe. Oh, my thumb. I got owie on my thumb. I got owie on my thumbs. So I'm going to end the video here. You're going to like and subscribe so my thumb doesn't hurt anymore. And we're all going to hold hands and laugh.